I like the, so
You're about to show us something, so I'm going to record that.
that's a good idea. But I'll start off real quick saying hi guys. I'm so sorry about last week. I know it's chaos. I promise we will be a clear. We should be a clear line.
Tell them what you did though, because I think it's worth it.
My family and I took a trip up north to like Hartford, I mean Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, New York. And there was just a slight miscommunication with my parents on like what we were doing exactly on Tuesday night. And so there was just a lot of confusion with that. And that's why I had to cancel. There was just, I've been out of town and there was no internet at the place we were at. And it was very loud and there's just a lot happening. But so that's my only trip for this summer. So we should be good for now. It was really,
it sounded amazing.
It
to
was
be fair. Yeah.
It was amazing. I loved it. I am ready to relax and rest now, especially being in the car so many hours with my family. I love them, but when you have 5 people and they're big and we're not in a van, we're in an SUV. It has 3 rows, but you have suitcases next to you. You just don't got a lot of elbow room. So very much I was like, we need a break. We need some space. So that's also why my cheeks are kind of red. We just got back in this morning and my house was the thermostat was like, I had it higher because I'd be gone. So my house is trying to bring itself back and it's having some difficulties. It's all good. It's just being very slow. So my cheeks are a little red from that. But anyways, okay. So we have 2 questions from 2 weeks ago when we did time. So we're going to do those first and then or not from, we did family 2 weeks ago, but they're time related. And then we're going to start with our WH like question words. And after that, we're going to go on to food, the different signs for food, which is always kind of a fun one. Fair warning, if you have not eaten yet, you will become hungry by the end of it. Because I always end up becoming hungry. I'm like, that sounds so really good right now. I want that. So just a fair warning, you might have to have like a little snack break. So, all right. So the first question is how would I say I am so-and-so years old? So the way you would do it, so the sign for age is age. It's almost like you're grabbing like a goatee. So it's not like up here, it's kind of pulling on your chin a little, age. And so what you would do is you would say me, age 24 or 24. Sorry, I know I did the weird one, 24. You can also do, usually this is like for younger kids, they'll go age 5, age 6. Like they'll start with that age and come out to the number. But most of the time that's when it's only like one like number or one sign, so like age 11. Whereas with us, we are all older than 19, so ours would be age 24, age 33, or well, I mean, I guess you can do that. Sorry, I like totally thought myself because I usually do. I'm like, I'm age what 24, but you can go age 24 or age 2. It doesn't really. Sorry, I'm thinking and I'm like questioning it as I do it. I'm so sorry about that. But it is, I mean, it's just this. So I know someone's going to ask me about that. So that's why I said when you're doing age is at your chin, like your bottom of your chin and going downward. Orange is in front of your mouth, orange. So an orange doesn't move out. So you see how with age, I'm like going down, but orange is just orange. You just stay in there. So that's the difference. That's kind of why I was like, I leaned in, I was like, there's a difference there. So then the next question was, you showed us. Okay, so if you were saying how many people there are in your family, there's a couple ways you can do it, if I'm being like honest, and it really is just however you want. There's really not a right or wrong way. So one way is going, my family, 5 people, or you can say my family. So this is the sign for have, has, had, and it's basically your fingers are bent and they go into like, not your armpits like fully, but like kind of the top. So you can go, my family has 5 people. You can, that's another way of saying like my family 5 people, or my family have 5 people. Does that make sense? Yeah. So this is person. Kind of that, this is always going to be kind of our, when we're describing a person, like as a job wise thing, is that person sign. So, and then let's see. Okay. So did that answer your questions? I know I kept kind of twisting it up and I'm sorry about that. I'm getting a little hot over here and it's like twisting my mind. So, but anyways, okay. So let's get started with our WH question words. And there are obviously the basic 5, but then there are 2 or 3 other ones that I tend to add because they're ones that we do kind of use more often. So the first one is who. So who is, you're going to start kind of with that L shape, thumb on your chin, and then you're going to just bend it. So you see, you can go all the way down, but I tend to just bend it. Yeah. Who. And a lot of times when you're doing who, your mouth kind of purses into that O sound, like who. And that is common. That is when you're talking to a deaf person, they will do who with that little lip purse. Who. So that's not just me going, oh yeah, no, that's actually a thing. Who. And then one important thing I didn't add, and I should have added in the beginning, is your eyebrows are very important with your WH question words. And what I mean is that when you're signing any of them, you have your eyebrows going down. So who. It makes you almost think you're angry, but it's not. It's showing. So that's how you actually kind of show you're asking a question to someone. And your eyebrows up and eyebrows down are 2 different things. So eyebrows down shows like a who, a what, a when, where, why. Whereas an eyebrows up is like a yes or no question. And that's kind of how you get it across to someone that you are asking a question and what type of question you want. So like if I'm saying, your favorite color is purple, I'd be like, your favorite color purple? And my eyebrows go up, fully up. So that's getting a yes or no response. But if I'm saying like, what is your favorite color? I'd say your favorite color, what? And the eyebrows go down. So if that makes sense. You really want to let your face kind of go with it. Like almost think you're almost putting on a play, because facial expressions are extremely important in ASL. So let's move on to our next one. So we did our who. Now we're going to do what, which I think you guys already saw me do, and it's what. It's like open hands, just what. Kind of what we do when we're already thinking like what. If someone's like from a distance and they're going, trying to talk to you, and you're like, what? Like, it's that what. Then we have our where. So where is going to be not a full X, like a slight bent. And you're going to go where. And you shake it back and forth. Where. And you kind of do that. Yeah. That again, that where kind of move. Good. You guys are doing the eyebrows. Perfect. Some people have a hard time with it because they're just not very full of expression, which I mean is normal. It's natural for us some of us not to do that. So I always have to tell people eyebrows down, but you guys are doing good. Okay. So then we have our when. So when is going to have our 2 fingers, pointer fingers touching. Let's see. There we go. And you're going to go when in a circular motion. When. It's not a big deal if you went backwards or forwards, but I would recommend forwards. I mean, that kind of makes more logical sense of like being like when, and time usually always goes forward. I know that's not the most makes it. Yeah. It wouldn't, if you did it backwards, no one's going to look and go, oh, I have no idea what she said. No, they'll know you mean when. And this is again, that when kind of eyebrows down, when. Then we have why. Why has about 3 different ways you can say it. The normal, when I mean normal, is the more like professional, fancy way of doing it is why. And so you start at your forehead. Yeah. And you pull your fingers back with your thumb and your pinky still up into that letter shape. Why. Why? Another way to do it is some people do their middle finger. Why? 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 And it's just that one pull back. So it's like tap, pull back. And then some will do why. They'll bounce it. Why? So there's a lot of different ways to do it. The why right here is kind of the more, this one's more commonly taught for ASL, like basic ASL. It's just this why. And I'm turning it sideways so you can see it. But most of the time you're not going why. You're just doing why. So, okay, let's do our 5 again, and then I'll add the other 2 or 3 that are not fully WH question words, but I like to include them. So we have our who. So who. Our what. Our where. Where. Our when. When. And then our why. Why or why. All right, so how are we feeling on our WH question words? Feeling good? Okay, I'm about to throw you guys a little curveball right now. So when using these 5 words and using any kind of question words, so the other 2 or 3 that I'm going to show you, when you're actually signing them, you're not going to do it in the way that we typically do it in English. So you know how we'll say, where is your house? What is your name? You don't do that. You actually flip it in the sense. And so you would actually have the WH question words at the end of your sentence. So for example, if I was asking, what is your name? I'd go, your name, what? And the reason it's done that way is it shows the person what kind of question you're asking and that what you are saying is a question. Because if you do, what is your name? Or, you know, we'll have those really long, like imagine those English, like essay questions we had, where it's like, it's a question, it's one question, but it's like 3 lines long. And you're like, okay, well, what is the question again? And with ASL, it's kind of like that. If you did that, if you're like, why, blah, 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 they'll forget you're even asking a question. So at the end, makes it more clear for the person you're talking to that you are asking a question that needs a response. So, all right, and then let's go on to our other ones that I wanted to add. So I wanted to add how many and our, well, how much, how many, and then I feel like there's one more, but I might just be thinking of it. I'm thinking of another one. So how is going to be, you're gonna have 2 thumbs, gonna have them together, and then you just have one thumb go forward. How. And that is actually how you would say, like, how are you? And this is one of those occasions where you would do how you. Yeah, I know. After I just told you, you do it at the end, we start with it, how you. But that's just kind of, you know, English has that way. We have a few things like that too. So, how are you? And then for how much or how many, you go how much. So you start with this, and then you throw your hands kind of in the air, how much? And you have, again, those eyebrows down, like much. So like if you're saying, oh, I have dogs at my house. And then you're saying, well, how many, or how much? You use the same sign. So how much? Or like, oh, I picked like so many apples yesterday. And then someone says, how many, you know, that. So how many or how much? Okay, let's see. I feel like there's one I'm still missing. Can y'all think of a question word I'm not thinking of? I mean, that is one we didn't go over. Who, what, when, where, why, how, then how much, how many?
For how much, did you do how much, or is it just how much?
Just how much. Throw in the hands, yeah. So it's just that basic, it's not adding that how much, it's just how much. Okay, well, I think we did all the WH. I always feel like there's one I'm missing, and then I'll find it later or something. So let's go back to the beginning of our WH question words. And I'm sorry if that's confusing saying WH question words, but that's like actually how we say it, is just WH question words. So I know it's a mouthful, but that's what I mean is these. All right, so let's start at the beginning. So with our who. So our who. And then our, I want to go in this order that like in my mind, English, I have it, but not the way I showed y'all. So I'm trying to go in the order I taught y'all. So then we have our what. What. And then we have our where. And then we have our when. When. And then we have our why. Why. All right, so then we have our next one is our how. How. And then our how much or how many. How much, how many. All right, good. So how are we feeling on these WH question words? Feeling good? I mean, you guys can technically actually start having some form of basic conversations with someone. Like in the sense of you can be like, what is your name? How are you? Those kinds of things, very, very basic. We'll build on them, I promise, but we're getting there. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're going to move on to food. If you just saw me now, I did the sign for food. So the sign for food itself is food. And you want to make sure you double tap, or at least double tap. You can do it 3. I mean, it doesn't really matter how many times, but it has to be more than once. And the reason is because one time means eat. So you'll notice that kind of with certain words that are like action words, and also like I'll give you guys this one. I know it's not food, but it's just showing an example. The sign for chair and the sign for sit. Chair is chair. It's like it's our 2 H's and then chair. Sit is sit. It's one time. Like how our today, now. So our food, eat. So that's just kind of something you'll kind of notice as you pick up on more signs, is that's kind of the way it works. It kind of, and I think it helps. You kind of can click on it easier. Okay, well, they did this one time, and I know the sign, normally you do like twice. Well, that means it must be something related to that. So, okay. So the first one I always start with our fruits and our vegetables. So the sign for fruit is you're going to make an F, and you're going to go at the corner of your mouth, and you're going to go fruit. Fun fact, this is also can be a sign for ketchup. A lot of people, my school, we do the sign for ketchup. We do this for ketchup. Some other places do not, but that's just kind of I always think it's kind of a cool thing. One of my teachers that I work with, she's from Tennessee. And when she first started working here, she was very confused on why they kept asking for fruit. But then when she'd ask them what kind, orange, apples, whatever, they'd be like, no, red. And she goes, okay, well, apple. And they're like, no. And they tried to describe sauce. And she's like, apple sauce? And they're like, no. And they got it's funny. And she finally was like, oh, you mean ketchup? And they're like, yeah. She's like, that's not okay, ketchup. So picking up on different regional signs, but this can also be ketchup. Okay. Then we have apple. So apple is you're going to kind of bend it in that X. You're going to have the back of your finger near your mouth, and you're going to go apple. Apple. Then our orange. So orange, I showed earlier, it's orange. So you just kind of squeeze in your fist. I always think about having an orange in your hand and squeezing it, and it's right in front of your mouth, orange. And then we have strawberry. Strawberry is going to be your thumb. You want like your nails to be, strawberry. I got caught doing this so many times, and this is secret, like, or private. Like, oh, that's a private like conversation, like shh. And I would say, oh, do you want strawberries? And they'd be like, I don't have a secret. And I'm like, oh no, strawberry. So strawberry. Then we have grapes. So grapes is going to have your non-dominant hand, like the back of the palm. Your dominant hand is going to be sort of like bent, and you're going to tap grapes. And it's like the grapes on a vine, if that makes sense. You see, yeah, grapes, yeah, grapes. If you're talking about a difference between like, I guess we do call them red grapes and green grapes, even though they're technically purple. Sorry, that's like me having a moment going, why do we call them that? But anyways, you would just do the colors. So red grapes. And I think, have we sent you guys out the colors video? Yeah, okay. We do have a video that I've already done that has all the colors. We'll send that out so you guys can see it. And then, you know, that will make more sense when I said, yeah, you do red with the green. But it has all the colors that have signs. Pretty much if you go into more of those like really fancy like secondary colors, they're not like, you know, aquamarine and turquoise and all those don't have signs. You would fingerspell, or you could do something like blue and green, like adding the colors. So yes, so Ms. Kay says she'll send it out with this tonight's class video. So but that just kind of answers, a lot of people ask me that, and unfortunately we kind of have our basic colors and that's about it. All right, our next one is banana. So banana is going to be your non-dominant is pointer. Yeah, yep, banana. Easy, it makes sense. Then we have our peach. So peach is going to be peach. And this is like relation of like peach fuzz, which I think is kind of cute. Don't know why, but I love it. So peach. And then our last fruit that I have, and if you guys have any others, just you're more than welcome to type them in or say something, is tomato. And so tomato is going to be, tomato technically doesn't have its own sign. It's two signs in one. So you do the sign for red, which is red, and then slice. So you have kind of like an open, like kind of fist, and then yeah, cut, yeah, so red slice. Yeah. Some people get sad when they realize tomato doesn't have its own sign. Not a big fan of tomatoes, so I'm like, that's okay. So, okay, let's go back to the beginning. Let's review. So the sign for food, eat, perfect. And then we have our fruit. So it's that F, corner of your mouth, and then you bounce it a little, yeah, fruit. Then we have apple, Then we have orange. And also nice thing is this is also the sign for the color orange. So there's no difference between the fruit orange and the color orange. It's just orange. Then we have strawberry. Grapes. Sorry, I was looking and then I lost it. So grapes. Grapes. And you kind of have it, as long as you're showing the bouncing of the grapes, like kind of on your hand, it'll be clear. It doesn't matter if it's like sideways, forwards, it's just as long as you show it. Then banana. Peach. And then tomato. So it's red slice. Good. Okay. So now we're going to go on to our vegetables. Okay. So the sign for vegetables, you're going to have a V and you're going to go vegetables, like almost like we did with our fruit, but now with a V, vegetable. And the first one I started with was corn. That's like my favorite. So sorry. And corn is going to be, you have it like this and you go corn. I always think about how you eat a corn on the cob. So then we have potato. Potato is going to be non-dominant, it's a fist. And you're going to have your dominant in like this, kind of like the two X's, and you're going to tap potato. This is also the sign for like potato chips. So it depends on, again, the context of how it is. So, you know, if you're gonna have like hot dogs and chips, if you're saying hot dogs and then chips, you're not gonna always think immediately potatoes, like you're gonna think of potato chips. So, and if it ever did come where it was confusing, you can always finger spell chips. It's a very short word. So, all right. Then the next one is cabbage and lettuce. So it's the same sign. And it's going to be the like the bottom of your palm is going to kind of thump you in the forehead. Cabbage. Yeah. And it's because of the relation of head of lettuce, you know? So cabbage, lettuce. And then for carrot, carrot is carrot. It's that crunch and bite. Yep. Now, the next one I have is pickle. So pickles kind of have like, I've seen two signs. One is pickle with the back of the mouth. Some people will just do that pointer finger of pickle. The way that it kind of, and the reason I'm gonna explain why it's over here is because the sign for sour is sour. And it kind of, you make that like almost like purse your lips, like, you know, when you take a bite of something, you're like, ooh, sour, it's sour. And so some people will do the P there to show it's a pickle. Some people will not actually letter it and they'll just do a pickle. But either way is right. Fun fact, that is also the sign for candy. The difference is, again, that facial expression, you know, so if you're talking about candy, you're not going to go candy unless you're talking about sour candy. And that is where it gets tricky. A lot of times I'll be like, I'll go candy, you know, I'll make kind of that face with it. I don't go sour candy because it's confused. So I just go candy, it's sour. So I felt like someone was going to ask that. I keep always thinking someone's going to ask about sour candies. So, okay. So that's all I have for the vegetables. I know that's not a lot. Trying to think of some other ones. Cucumber, you finger spell. What are some other ones? Broccoli. I've seen a sign for broccoli. I'll give it to you guys. It's not one I always like often see. A lot of times I do see people try to finger spell it more. It's broccoli. So it's like tree this. It's a very weird, yeah. And the reason I get this one, I'm like, is because this is also the sign for champ, like champions. So it can be very confusing in that sense. So I tend to just finger spell broccoli. Oh, salad. Okay. So salad. Oh, I have it lower. That's why. I promised. I have some healthy stuff in this. So salad is going to be your open hands and you're going to toss it. So it's like you're tossing your salad. Salad. And I tend to, I'm going to go slow.
And service and
Yes,
sustainability.
Potato salad.
Yes,
Exactly. I knew either someone's going to say that or ask about it. And I'm glad you picked up on it.
Possible by.
Here's the second one.
So we
It's
have
a window into the cosmos.
and then for watermelon, let's see. So watermelon, there's a lot of questions. I ask a lot of people and I always get different responses. So sometimes with watermelon, some people say you just finger spell it. Some say you can do the sign for water, which is water, the W water. What is it? They'll do watermelon, like they'll finger spell it. Let's see, what else have I done? What else have I seen? There's another one I've seen. There's always this, that's kind of one of those signs where finger spelling it is not going to hurt you. If you do water and then melon, it's not going to hurt you. So, yeah, water, melon. Yeah. All right, let's see. Okay, I keep sliding. I need to leave it. All right. Are there any other types of fruits or vegetables you guys can think of that I did not say? And fair warning, some of them might just not have signs. So I'm trying to think as well. Let's see. A lot of times, a lot of fruits and vegetables will just have their finger spelling signs. I know it's kind of sad, but my favorites have signs. My corn and my potatoes have signs, and my apples have signs. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm good. I don't have to always finger spell everything, but And it's very common to do that as well. Okay, so then the next thing I have is how you would describe, like, I'm trying to figure out how the word is. Basically describing stuff. So sweet, sour, hot, cold, those kinds of things. And then we'll go on to actual like other types of foods. So the first one I have is sour, which I showed you. It's sour. That person lips, yeah. Oh, y'all just made me think of one. Lemon. Sorry, lemon's right there. Lemon. It's that L and then the down, lemon. And a lot of people do that. Sour with it. Sorry, I saw y'all's faces. I was like, oh, lemon, that's one. So, okay. And then we have sweet. So the sign for sweet is you're gonna have your dominant hand kind of in that bend position, 4 fingers here, and you're gonna go sweet, sweet. And you kind of like pull it into a fist. Yeah, sweet, sweet. And that is also for the sign for like she's really sweet, like that's a sweet girl, that's a sweet boy. This candy is really sweet, this pie, those kinds of things. So it's the same overall. Excuse me. All right, then the next one is hot. And this is also like for spicy. So if you're talking about a drink is hot or something is spicy, it's the same sign. And you're gonna start with that open hand kind of in your mouth and you're gonna hot, hot, yeah. And I always think about almost like you're having flames coming out of your mouth and just kind of coming out like it's, whoo, it's so hot. And then the sign for cold. So the sign for cold is cold, cold. That's also like saying I am cold, so I'm cold. If you're going to say like the word like frozen, like something is frozen, like this is frozen, you would go freeze. And you see my fingers, yeah. It's almost like your fingers, when they get so cold, they kind of curl up into themselves, freeze. So that's if like you're saying, you know, this pizza, it's frozen, like it is cold. So, okay. Now let's stop here. Let's go back over the signs that we've done from vegetable and onward. All right, so we had our vegetable, so vegetable. Then we had corn, 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 potato, potato, cabbage slash lettuce. So think about how, you know, like if you look at a head of lettuce, it's almost kind of like in that position, and the leaves you kind of pull, or the leaves, you pull them like that. That's what I think of. Is like the head with this, yeah. Then we have carrot, carrot. Then pickle. So the 2 ways for pickle, pickle, or just pickle. Then we have sour. So sour, sweet, sweet, sweet. Hot. I did it before I voiced it. I was going to try to voice it before. Hot. Then cold, cold. And then frozen, frozen, frozen. And I see, yes, so Miss Katie did say one. So peas. Peas, you actually have a sign. It's like peas and beans kind of, they kind of are the same signs. If you're talking, most of the time I do see this more for beans. If someone's talking about peas and it's really important, it's different. They'll just finger spell peas. But beans, it's your non-dominant sideways and pointer pointing out, and you just dip, 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 beans, peas and beans. And it's like almost like the beans and peas in a pod, you know, peas or beans. I think I've seen them used for both. Sorry, I have to sit there and think, because when I see it in conversation, I, you know, get it. I'm like, okay. But then when I have to sit there and actually think about it, I start to like going, have I actually seen that? Yeah, I've seen it that way. And that's why I sit there and I kind of look off into a distance. I'm like visually remembering a student or a teacher I worked with signing it. So, okay. So now we're on to, oh wait, salad. Then we have salad, salad. And I always think you have like those handles, you know, when you're doing like a tossed salad, it's that kind of thing. You're like coming together and the salad is all kind of flying. Yeah, salad. Okay, so now we're on to what I like to call the fun stuff. It's the more like not the healthy, it's, you know, actual like big things. And so the first one I have is pizza. Pizza has about 2 to 3. There's a couple of different ways you can sign it. I'm going to show you 2 that are more common that I've seen. The first one I've seen is pizza. So it's almost like you're holding it. Yeah, holding a slice of pizza and eating it, pizza. The other one, which I really think is kind of cute too, is you have those 2 X's and you go Z. You just make a big Z with them. So pizza. So we have pizza, pizza. Then we have hamburger. So hamburger is going to be hamburger. It's almost like when you're making the patties. Yeah, hamburger. If you were going to make a cheeseburger, you would go cheese. So cheese is non-dominant. It's kind of sideways. Yeah, sideways like this. I tend to have it a little more open, and then you have it. Yeah, that palm is on the back and is shaking. So cheese. Yeah, cheeseburger. Then we have fish. So fish is the same sign for like when you're talking about, there's really not a lot of differences of types of fish. So like if you're talking about like tilapia or cod or any of those different varieties, it's just fish. If you're having to talk about a specific type, you would finger spell it. And so the sign for fish is fish, fish. So it's almost like you're making a fish. I tend to like, and you kind of want to have like your front end kind of wiggling like it's the tail, fish. Yeah, I'll turn it sideways so you can see it. Yeah, fish. That's also for the pet fish. That's for the type of food. Anything related with fish is that. Then we have spaghetti. Spaghetti / pasta. And that is going to be your pinkies. And you're going to go spaghetti, pasta. And it's just the noodles. I used to love this sign. I thought it was like the best sign in the world. But I also love spaghetti, so that makes sense. Then we have the sign for sandwich. So the sign for sandwich is actually not the same as hamburger. Those are different. So the sign for sandwich is you're gonna have like those 2 bent hands come together, sandwich, sandwich, sandwich. Yeah, it's almost, you know, like usually a lot of sandwiches have like they're wrapped up. You have them like wrapped in a specific way, and it's kind of like folded like that. I mean, that in my mind, I'm like sandwich. If you don't, and you think I'm just going like you like I've never seen that before, don't worry about it. It's sandwich. All right, and then we have chicken. So the sign for chicken is the same for the animal. So if you're talking about a chicken or you're talking about I had chicken for dinner, it's the same sign, and it's chicken. This is also, it's like the back. Yeah. So that your pointer finger's knuckle is kind of like on your nose, chicken. Yeah. And this is also the sign for birds in general. Most of the time we're talking to a lot of people, you know, it'll be most common is chicken. So we'll do chicken. If you're talking about a type of bird, like if you had quail, you would finger spell quail to be clear on that. But if you're just talking about like, I had chicken last night, you would just say I had chicken last night. All right. And then meat. So this is just the overall sign for meat, like any type of meat. And it's going to be your non-dominant kind of sideways. And then your dominant is going to grab it, like point. It can be your middle finger or your pointer finger. It really, there's not really a big difference. And you grab it. And it's a little graphic, basically. It's like the image of meat being hung on a hook, like in a, you know, an old butcher shop. So meat. Fun fact, this is also the sign for like content. So if you're talking about the content of the story, you'd be like the meat of the story. I thought that was really interesting. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, because, you know, we always say, well, what's the meat of it? What's the meat of this whole thing? And so you use the sign. And my light, sorry, it's getting very dark in here. Let me put on a light real quick. Okay, that's better. I was like seeing myself, I was like, I'm getting darker and darker and darker. And I'm like, I know the sun's setting, but didn't realize it was getting that dark. So then the next thing is pig. Like I had like ham, pig kind of deal. And what you do is you have the back of your dominant hand is under your chin, pig, pig. And you just go all four, yeah, pig. Now, if you're talking about bacon, bacon does have its own sign, and it is going to be the two H's again. They're touching, and then they go bacon, bacon. And I always think about when you make bacon, it gets, all the bumpy, and so that little crispiness, bacon. Okay. Then I have eggs. So the sign for eggs is going to be those two H's again, eggs, eggs. And it's that visual of like the egg cracking. So very to the point, eggs. Let's see. Oh, excuse me. And the next ones I have are desserts, like sweet stuff. So the first one I have is cookie. Excuse me, sorry. So cookie is going to be, you have the L, but now your pointer finger is bent. Cookie, cookie, cookie. Then we have pie. Pie is going to be non-dominant palm up. Your dominant is going to be like this, and you're going to pretend to slice off a triangle. Yeah, pie. And then I have ice cream. So ice cream, very simple. Ice cream, ice cream. So you're just licking ice cream. Now for cake and cupcakes. This is another one of those, there's a lot of variety with it that I've seen. The more common one, this is the one I use, especially for if I'm talking about cupcakes, is non-dominant palm up. Dominant is kind of in that C, and it's cupcake. Some people use this for cake. I tend to finger spell cake, but I'm also kind of a sweet tooth, so I'm always like, cupcakes and cake are a total different thing to me. Like, I know they're basically the same thing, but like, if my mom's like saying, oh, I have cupcakes, or oh, if I have a cake, like that makes two different things in my mind. So I like to have them kind of separate. But some people are just like cake, cupcake, it's all the same. And then let's see, what else did I have? I had another dessert. Oh, chocolate. Okay, so chocolate is going to be, I don't know if I've actually shown this. Oh no, we haven't talked about this one. This one's like Miss Katie and I is one of our favorites because there are two signs that are very similar. One is chocolate and then one's the other sign. So chocolate is going to be non-dominant fist. Dominant is that shape of C, and you're going to do it in a circle on top of your hand. Chocolate. The other one is, if you bounce it, it's church. And the reason we think this is funny is because they're so similar. It's very easy to say, I'm going to chocolate, or I want to eat some church. And it kind of gets kind of funny. I think very much, I remember in high school learning, I always kept flipping chocolate and church. And I would get them mixed up. And my teacher would look at me and be like, oh, so you ate church for dessert last night? And I'm like, no. She's like, chocolate. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So, and that's always just kind of one of our favorite ones. All right, let's see. Oh, vanilla. So if you're talking about like your type of ice cream, you'll do the same, like that chocolate. This is just universal of any type of chocolate. Strawberry is how you would do for strawberry ice cream. And then for vanilla, you'll have that same fist, V, and you'll go vanilla. You do it on, yeah. It's a little bit of a strange one. A lot of times when you're lower, it's a little better because you're kind of lower, but since I'm up higher, it's weird. But it's just that V on top, vanilla. And then I know we haven't reviewed, but we have like 15 minutes left. So I'm trying to give you guys some more signs. So I'm gonna keep going if that's okay. I'm gonna give you guys drink signs. So then for different types of drink, for like for milk, it's milk. For juice, it's juice. You just do a J. So if you're talking about apple or orange, you would do orange juice, apple juice. I have seen some around here. The sign for jealous is very similar. I kind of just tend to just kind of go juice, orange juice. But I think it's right here. Just fair warning in case if you do it and someone's like jealous, they're very similar. And then we have soda. Oh, sorry. Got a notification on my laptop and it startled me. So soda, the sign for just generic soda is you're going to have your non-dominant in a fist. Your dominant middle finger is going to go inside your soda or inside. and then you pull it up and slam down. Soda. And that is basically like popping it open. And then it kind of like, if you shake, you know, when you shake it, it explodes. Soda. If you're talking about a specific kind of soda, you finger spell. So if you're saying like soda, you know, Coke or Sprite, you would finger spell those out. And then we have coffee and then tea. Sorry, that's not on there. That's why I yelled it out loud, because it's not on this list, but I'm gonna say that one. So coffee is coffee. It's gonna be 2 fists on top, and then they go in a circular motion. You don't wanna, this is make, like I made something. You don't want it sideways, because this is like kissing and making out. So you want them on top, coffee. And then tea. So the sign for tea is you're gonna kind of have that C, and you're gonna have like how you know the tea bag inside, and you're going to stir it. If you dip it, that means boat. So stirring is tea. Yeah, I know. There's very similar ones, and it's very easy to have some very interesting conversations. Most of the time whenever I do a sign wrong, I laugh about it. I don't get upset about it with the person, and we make a good joke out of it. Most people are not very judgy. They'll try to correct you, but it's coming from a good place most of the time. They're not being mean. They're just like, it's easy to do. So tea. If you're talking about like a hot tea or sweet tea, you do that same thing. Sweet tea, hot tea. Okay. Let's see. Making sure I got everything. Are there any other types of foods you guys can think of that I did not say? I'm trying to look at my list again. It's a very big list. I said pie. Miss Katie, I don't think you were paying attention. But well, actually that is a good one. Chocolate pie would be that chocolate pie. That just made me think of coconut. Okay, so I did just recently see the sign for coconut for once. I always finger spelled it. And so it's making sure I do this right. It's coconut, like it's coconut. So you know, like how you have like the coconut. I'm trying to like, the way they did it is almost like it's not holding it and shaking it. It's like they're separate. You see in stacking like coconut. Yeah, coconut. If you don't feel confident with that one, finger spelling is not going to hurt you, because that's what I've always done. I've always finger spelled it. And it's always interesting talking to a big group of deaf people, and how like some are from different states. And so we always have interesting discussions on what signs they use for different words. And coconut was one of them. One person was like, oh, I just finger spelled coconut. And another person's like, no, it's coconut. And we're like, oh, all right, cool. So let's see. Any other types of food you guys can think of that I didn't say? I'm trying to think. Let's see, what else do I have? I have everything. Are there any you guys can think of, like types? Usually there's like a list that people will send. That's kind of why I was trying to finish early, to give you guys more time. Because like usually by this class, everyone's like, oh, okay, what about this type of food? This one, you know, and onion. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, there we go. Okay. I was like, wow, you guys. Okay. So onion is like that same shape we do with apple, but now it's next to your eye. Onion. For taco. So taco and then hot dog, because that was one that made me think of it. So taco is going to have, you see, I have almost pretend like you're holding up a taco shell. Yeah. And then you're going to go taco. The whole hand, taco. For hot dog, it's that same hand shape, but now one. Hot dog. That's why I thought of it. Taco, hot dog. Very similar. Taco, hot dog. Yes. Okay, let's see. What other types of food are there that I didn't say? Let's see. I'm trying to think. Okay, good. Someone's typing. Yes. Okay, soup. Oh, perfect. So soup and cereal are kind of very similar. So when you're talking about soup, you have your dominant, these two fingers, and your non-dominant in that C shape, and you go soup. Soup. And then cereal is cereal, like bowl and then eating it. Yeah, cereal. Yeah. If you're doing a type of soup, like hot, sweet and sour soup, or hot and sour. What is it? Hot and sour soup? I think that's what it is. You'd hot, sour soup. Oh, toast. Oh, I never showed y'all bread. Okay. So there we go. See, I knew we'd have a list. It always happens. So the sign for bread is going to be your non-dominant is in that same sort of sideways shape. Your dominant is going to be in that bent one, and you're going to go bread. And it's like cutting the slices of it. Toast is one of those where you can finger spell it, or I usually do bread, and then I'll do cook. So like bread, cook. So the sign for cook, yeah, is cook. Yeah. That one you could do too, is hot bread. Yeah, I mean, and I feel like that's kind of where you guys can have almost like your own creativity with it is, it's not limited. So if, you're wanting to figure out another way to describe something, you can. There's so many cool ways you can do with stuff like that. So yes, I like that, hot bread. And then butter. So butter is going to be two fingers, non-dominant is palm up, and you're going to go butter. And you want to make sure you don't do a full hand because that's soap. So, you're not asking, can I have some soap? You're not saying, can I have soap with my bread? It's, can I have butter? Pancakes and waffles. That's what I thought of when I saw bread. So pancake is the same thing as cook. Again, that's one of those that's kind of like with context clues, you can pick it up. Also pancake, finger spelling it is another thing. For waffle, it's waffle. Like you kind of do the crosses and waffle. Yeah, waffle. Let's see. Sausage. Okay, so sausage is going to be, so you basically do sausage links. Sausage. And you keep going. It's just that, yeah, that motion of how like they're always linked together. So sausage. Let's see. I'm on that breakfast food thing, so I'm trying to think. Meatball. Okay, so for meatball, you do meat ball. So meatball, yes. Let's see. Okay, so the sign for syrup and sauce is the same one, and it's palm up. Your hand is in that Y, and then you just kind of spin it in circles. So it's almost like, when you pick up the syrup and you pour it and it's like drizzling down, or like sauce, it does that. And again, that's one of those context clues would make it work. So if you're saying, oh, can I have, like, it's breakfast, and you're like, can I have the syrup? They're not going to think, oh, you want sauce, like you want like marinara sauce. Like they're not. So nachos and tortilla chips. A lot of times I see finger spelling, so like nachos, and then finger spelling tortilla chips. I have not seen an actual sign for nachos, but that doesn't mean there might not be one. It's just I've just not seen it. Maybe there's one some up north. They have a different sign for it. For mustard, you do finger spell mustard. I know, given that ketchup has its own sign, mustard should too, but no, mayonnaise is just mayo, M-A-Y-O, because it's short. Let's see, we're on the sauce and condiments. Barbecue, like barbecue sauce or barbecue, the food itself is BBQ. It's just that simple, BBQ. I love how I keep like spiraling. I keep going, oh wait, barbecue. Like I'm like, my mind's starting to think of barbecue foods, like things I have at barbecues. Let's see. Coleslaw. So that's when you finger spell coleslaw. You can do that too. I was gonna say, like, you can describe it in that way. That yeah, so I not explain this, but basically describing things, which the sign for describe or explain is like two F's, they're sideways, and you basically go back and forth, describe. You can describe something. Like, for example, if I'm talking about like I'm talking about an apple or something, doing red fruit is not going to be necessarily wrong. Or, it's not where you're stuck on if I don't find the correct sign for apple, or it's going to you're never going to get through. So there are ways you can describe it. It's kind of fun sometimes when you work with students who don't fully know signs for words, for foods, and they like to point on their tray. And sometimes if you're sitting across, or they come up to you and they're like, can I have more? And I'm like, well, more what? And they're like, that. And I'm like, okay, well, there's nothing there. You pointed to the air. You want more air? Okay, there. And so it kind of gets into this whole like explaining and describing. And it's actually that's always a good time to kind of pick up on more signs too. So peanuts. So peanuts is peanuts. It's your thumb and like you're almost like flicking your teeth. Yeah. I flick my teeth. Like I literally like stick my nail and kind of flick. If you do the motion of it, that's similar enough. I don't know why I have to go like all the way. I'm just that way. So peanut. If you're talking about a peanut butter sandwich or peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you do peanut butter. PB&J sandwich is just PB&J sandwich. So let's see. Thinking of anything others. Let's see. Crackers. Okay. Oh, and popcorn. Okay, we'll get these two. So crackers is also very similar to the sign for country. Don't know why. Makes me laugh every time I think about it. So you have your non-dominant fist and you're going for the elbow. So that's why I'm lifting high. You do not have to lift it high. Lower is fine. You just can't see it if I do it. So crackers. Country is country. You go in a circle. Very similar. Some people will just do crackers, or most of the time I'll see they'll either do crackers or crackers. So, and then popcorn. So popcorn is popcorn. The flicking of the fingers up, like it's pop, 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 popcorn. All righty. So it's now 6:30. Is there any other ones you're like, okay, we got to do it now? Wait, I missed it.
Will you clarify about the sign for when you did pig earlier? There is a sign for bacon, but if you're saying you're having ham, it would be pig.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
Yes, because I guess bacon's a more common like breakfast food. It is its own thing. Bacon, that bouncing, and then ham. And like I said, this is also pig, so the animal pig. I know it's I remember the first time teaching Miss Katie these signs, she was like horrified. She's like, oh my gosh, why would you have it the same for ham and pig and chicken and
chickens? It
like,
kills me.
Yes, like it got to her. It was kind of funny. And it's always fun having to explain to kids that when they say meat, because a lot of times as teachers, we're like, what kind of meat? Cow meat? Because this is cow. We will do animals later. I think that's next week, but cow. The kids will go, no, we don't eat cows. And I'm like, oh, you've been eating cow all your life. And we have to like explain it to the kids. And like sometimes their faces was like, and I'm like, I'm sorry you found out this way, but that right there in your spaghetti is cow. And they're like, their minds are just blown. So it's always kind of fun to have to go into those describing. I had one kid who still was very full on like, no, I don't eat cows. I don't eat that. No. And I'm like, but then I'd be watching her from a distance eating a hamburger. And I'm like, that hamburger is cow. And she's like, no, it's not. I'm like, go ask another teacher. And she'd go up and she'd ask, and she was stubborn. And she'd ask them and then be like, yeah, it's cow. And like the teachers are like, what's such a big what? And then she'd just be like, no, it's not cow. And we're like, yes, it is. And I was like, you know what? Fine. Okay, you're not eating cow. You refuse to accept it. Fine. Go ahead. Be happy with yourself. I'm not gonna worry about it. Like, you're old enough to make your own decisions, and I'm not going to try to fight a 12-year-old who's going to be like, those defiantness of, I'm like, no, it's not worth it. But it's always kind of funny having kids and explaining it to them, because they're just like, you can see their minds going, I didn't know that. And it's like the same thing with kids. I remember, thinking, oh, never realized that it was cows. And then being like, ew. I went through that vegetarian stage for like 3 days. I couldn't make it. I realized I loved meat too much, but I was like, I don't want to eat cows. And I was like, I do want to eat the cows. I'm so sorry. I have to. And so seeing the same thing in the schools is always funny. But okay, it is now 6:33. So we will finish. If you think of any other signs or any other words that you guys want to like, you think of another type of food, you see something, or you're curious of how would you describe it, save it for next week, or you can always email Miss Katie and she'll let me know, and we'll do that. Next week we are going to do animals. Animals is always kind of a fun one. And then the next week after that will be like emotions and like feelings. So we're going to get really like connected, you guys, and really be open with our feelings. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of y'all's week. And I will see you guys all next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye, everybody.